Hello, and welcome to Mikey's Film Corner. I'm your host, Mikey. And today, we are probably going to be talking about the worst movie I've ever seen. Probably since Borderlands, Madam Web, and Joker Filet Adieu. With how this year has been with movies, it's kind of a shock that the one that has to suck and the one that's not the best is War of the Worlds. Now, there is good to this movie, but before I could get to it, let's talk about what is War of the Worlds. If you're new to this, I guess, popular movie trend, but I don't think it's really a popular movie trend, just making fun of this movie, which we will get into. I need to explain War of the Worlds to people who probably have never heard of this. War of the Worlds was a book made back in, I want to say way before I was born. Sometime in maybe in the 1900s, maybe in sometime in the early 20th century. It is one of the most popular and most well-known novels in fiction. It's one of the most popular novels ever. It was adapted into two really big movies, one in 1953 and one in 2005. The latter is one of my personal favorites growing up. And it's probably the movie that a lot of people my age know more than the older one. Because the one that I got when I was a kid had these cool-looking eye tripods. And tripods, by the way, are the aliens trying to take over humanity and take it over planet Earth. They looked really cool. And for 2005, that looks phenomenal. And 20 years later, still looks as great as ever. In fact, I would guarantee if this played in a theater right now, I'd go see it in a heartbeat. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies I've truly ever watched. The Morgan Freeman narration at the beginning and end of the movie, cinema. But while I adore that movie and don't know much about the original War of the Worlds film that a lot of people may know more, there's this movie. Now, the 2025 War of the Worlds was a little different than the movies and the novel. Previous movies. Which was, instead of aliens trying to take over the world, aliens are taking data. And it's a great idea to try to use artificial intelligence and modern technology implemented into War of the Worlds. That's a great idea. The other great idea was making the tripods look a little more realistic to what we think modern technology would use. And with the modern technology we have with CGI and stuff, it looks great. The tripods look pretty cool. I mean, they have these cool sonar beams coming out of the top of their shoulders. It looks cool. And I'm guessing that's either the way of communicating or trying to extract data or both. I'm not sure. Whatever it is, it looks amazing. But that's the only good I'm giving of this movie because I'm about to tear down this entire movie. And there is not a lot of good other than the two things I said, which are the tripod designs that look cool and the idea of trying to make it modern. That ends because the bad starts with the way they made the movie. This movie was made as a screen life movie, meaning that this is made to format in the form of either a laptop screen, a phone screen, yada, yada, yada. And while it is a good idea to try to do that with modern technology, with a kind of movie like this, you don't need to make it a screen life. It doesn't work. And that's not a bad critique. That's just me personally. It doesn't work for me. A movie like War of the Worlds requires more atmosphere, more open world, more open space. And I feel like you just kind of crammed a couple actors into a couple rooms, and made this feel like this was made during quarantine. And I don't like the way it looks. And this feels like the movie Unfriended. If you know that movie, that's a screen life movie, for anybody who remembers that movie. Unfriended was a horror movie made on a laptop about a couple friends and this mysterious FaceTime caller or Skype caller. I forgot how it worked. But basically, they all get cursed one by one because there's this mysterious caller and they don't know who it is. And it was a good idea at the time, but this was 2014. We're in 2025. We don't need a screen life movie. You can make this a big blockbuster movie and it still not be great, but I'll still at least appreciate it. Screen life doesn't work for me, so I'm not a fan of the concept. The next bad thing doesn't even come from, doesn't even just come from the, it's not even the concept of the movie, it's the way it's edited, it's the way it's paced. But I'm not going to go too in-depth on the camera work and pacing and editing because they're not great anyway. And again, not a fan of not making this open world and free roaming. you just kept it in a laptop, on a guy's laptop. I just don't like that. It's stupid. Or like a couple laptops. I'm not a fan of it. I'm sorry. It doesn't work for me. Now, while this feels like the movie Unfriended, but worse, that stops when we get into the acting. Because this acting is so horrendous, so garbage, that if you put Madam Web, Joker Filet Adieu, Borderlands, and sprinkle a teeny tiny bit of like every bad John Travolta performance, put it in a blender, give the script, and format it into a script, give it to icecube, and that was this movie in a nutshell. It is so bad that the bad acting starts with the main character, Will Bradford, played by Icecube. While I think Icecube is a great actor in certain movies, and he's a great comedic guy, I wouldn't say he's a great serious actor, depending on the topic at hand. A great example is Boys in the Hood, probably one of his best dramatic roles and arguably one of the greatest dramas of the 90s. But his acting in that movie, narrowly, not even close, doesn't even compare to the acting of this movie. This movie took itself way too seriously that Ice Cube was just reading off a script for maybe the majority of the movie. Maybe 3/4 of the movie was him reading off a cue card or reading off a script on that same laptop. And I hate every second of it. And I'm not a fan of actors forcing their lines. I am all not for it at all. And in fact, what really bothers me and what really grinds my gears is the fact that Ice Cube didn't show barely any emotion in this movie. There were times where I felt like he could have screamed at the microphone, screamed really loud. I get he's older. I get it. He doesn't want to hurt his voice. But for a movie like this where you got to show a lot of emotion, he didn't really do that a lot. Not really. And that disappointed me. That really disappointed me. But it's not just him that's the worst actor in this movie. Eva Longoria, who plays Sandra, I believe a physicist or some kind of a worker at NASA. I forgot what she does at NASA. I'm going to be 100% honest. I was just distracted by Ice Cube's horrible acting. Eva Longoria is supposed to be a key character just like Ice Cube's character. But Sandra is just as boring as Will, and it really infuriates me. And it doesn't even stop there. It also goes to Roderick himself, David Bostwick, or Bostwick, I forgot how you say his name. I think it's David Bostwick, freaking playing almost a caricature of Roderick in the form of a guy named Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. You know, if you know, you know. But, like, the fact that Mark is the most boring side character, I'm in disbelief. And he's supposed to save his fiancée who's pregnant, named Faith. It infuriates me that every bit of the acting from everyone in this movie is just bad. And I mean it in a boring way, not in a good way, just really boringly bad. And I feel like if you put Catwoman next to this movie, I feel like I'd get a good money's worth from Catwoman again over this. I'm not even joking. I would rewatch Halle Berry as Catwoman. Because even though that movie's bad, I'd get my money's worth from Halle Berry being Catwoman than whatever the hell Ice Cube was doing sitting in the DHS headquarters the majority of this movie. It was just bad. It's just bad. All around bad. And that's not even all. That's not even the worst part. The worst part is this went into like conspiracy territory. What are we doing? What are we, conspiracy YouTubers? No. We're not doing that. Not for War of the Worlds. They weren't doing this in 2005. They weren't doing this in the 50s. What are we doing? What are we doing? I think what's even more frustrating is that no movie, and I mean no movie in a sci-fi genre has ever come this close to being bad in a very long time, at least to me. The last time I remember thinking a bad sci-fi movie existed was hearing the names Battlefield and Earth. Battlefield Earth, 25 years ago, was the worst sci-fi movie, and it wasn't even close. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we found one worse than that. And it's this movie. This piece of garbage exists. And I am sick to my stomach at how disturbingly boring and how shallow it is of a movie. You had great ideas that could have worked, and not even Devin Boston could save your damn movie. I am utterly ashamed. Utterly ashamed. I am disappointed beyond all measure. And I'm a big fan of Devin. I love Roderick. He's one of my favorite characters in media. But you ruined him. You just ruined him. And the one icing on the cake of this horrendous piece of sewage is the Amazon product placement. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. We are now entering into Madam Web levels of bad. When Madam Web was just a Pepsi product placement for Disney and Sony, now you're doing the same thing but with Universal. Amazon is a great company for online shopping. But the fact that you had to plug it into a movie like this, unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. I am disappointed. I am utterly ashamed. I am distraught beyond all measure at how lazy of a movie you can make. And congratulations to Rich Lee. You directed a really bad adaptation of a great sci-fi book, a great sci-fi movie. I am disappointed. Absolutely disappointed. For the first time ever in any of the movie ratings I've ever done for this channel, I gave Emilia Perez a 1. But this doesn't deserve a 1. No. They had ideas and they scratched it all away. All gone. Any great visual appeal I could get out of this movie was gone the moment I heard Icecube just go, Dave! Damn! Like, just Icecube not even overreacting. For a movie that's supposed to be intense, this ain't intense at all to me. For the first time ever, I'm giving this a 0.5 out of 10. A 0.5 out of 10. I've never given a movie that low of a rating. A 0.5 out of 10. I am utterly ashamed. Utterly ashamed to even know this movie exists. To anyone who has the guts to sit through this entire hour and a half long movie, I'm praying for you. I am praying for you. Because this movie is garbage. Absolute garbage. It might genuinely be one of the worst movies I've ever watched in my lifetime. And I've seen some bad movies recently. But not this bad. Not this bad. And I'm glad that I'm keeping this as a simple movie review. And I'm going way beyond the time limit. But I need you to understand, nothing came this close to being bad. And Madam Web was very close, but I could get something out of it. Joker Filet Adieu came close, but at least they tried to make a good musical. It was just a really boring legal drama instead of a musical thriller. And for Borderlands, they should have just changed it to an R-rated movie and made it gory and nobody would complain. Or at least it wouldn't be as horrendous. But no. This is the movie that I might think might be one of the worst movies of all time. And if you have the guts to watch it, God help you. God help you. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to smash the like button and smash that subscribe button. Please never watch this movie. It is bad. Just utterly garbage. Absolutely terrible. I hope that the Nostalgia Critic reviews this movie because I can't even process how laughably horrible this movie is. Don't ever watch it. It's bad. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.